Is what it is, isn't it? I could say a lot of things about him, but I respect my opponent. It's not for me to talk, it's for you to do all the talking.
Huge! Yeah. 6'5", 6'6".
Hey, you know what can be scary too, Unc?
What that?
Even with all the training, when he feel that power one time, and he have
never got hit that's like getting kicked in the face by a mule.
When you feel that power, even if you parry or even if you block, and you feel that power hit them gloves.
Anthony Joshua leaking footage of Jake Paul getting kicked out of sparring has sent shockwaves across the boxing world. The clip is brutal, embarrassing, and downright alarming for anyone who believed Jake Paul could survive even a single round with a true heavyweight champion. Seeing Jake Paul get knocked out in
boxing hardcores, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system that you have to go through, and once you're qualified there, then you go through to the professional ranks. Whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere.
Sparring is a disaster on its own. But the real question everyone is asking is simple. If Jake Paul cannot last through a light camp session, how on earth will he survive Anthony Joshua under real fight conditions? The reactions across the boxing world have been savage, brutally honest, and completely unforgiving.
In camp, living in camp, training with him day in, day out. And it made a big difference in the fight. So I think he knows that the way that he's going to improve is time in the gym, and also...
Eddie Hearn didn't hold back when addressing the footage. He highlighted the vast difference in levels by emphasizing that Anthony Joshua's improvement comes from relentless training, world-class sparring, and years of high-level competition. Jake Paul, meanwhile, is barely surviving basic sessions. The gap is enormous, and the footage exposes it in high definition. Jake Paul's performance makes one thing clear. He is nowhere near ready for a real heavyweight challenge, let alone a fighter as polished and powerful as Anthony Joshua.
It's only different. Sparring, you're there to learn. So the guy you knocked out in sparring, he's understand, okay, I did this silly move, that's how I got knocked out. So I'm gonna have to stop doing these silly moves so I don't get...
Derek Chisora summed the situation up perfectly. According to him, Jake Paul getting knocked out in sparring shows he still doesn't understand the fundamentals. Every sloppy step, every lazy hand drop, every poorly timed movement is punished immediately by someone at Joshua's level. Anthony Joshua's timing is sharp. His footwork is elite, and his presence alone forces mistakes out of Jake Paul. In sparring, real champions learn. Jake Paul, however...
As though Jake Paul is the bigger in this equation. Not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220. Probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that's the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes. But I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with...
Only gets exposed and humiliated until... The footage makes it painfully obvious that Jake Paul cannot handle the intensity, pressure, or discipline required to survive a real session with a legitimate heavyweight monster. Anyone who watched the footage can see the truth. This is a complete David versus Goliath situation. Jake Paul might walk around at 220 pounds, but Anthony Joshua is enormous even for a heavyweight. Bigger, stronger, sharper, and infinitely more skilled. And every time they shared the ring in camp, Jake Paul's face and body language made one thing clear.
Every single day, bust my balls, have a 15-person team working around the clock to help me become the best boxer possible.
He realized instantly that he is outclassed. Being big does not mean you can compete with someone like Anthony Joshua. Weight is not enough. Size is not enough. Hype is definitely not enough. Joshua's skill, power, and presence dominate every second, every exchange, every moment of contact. Jake Paul claims he sacrifices everything, trains non-stop, and has a top-tier team working 24/7 to prepare him for greatness. But the sparring footage tells a completely different story. Despite all
Shockingly terrible. Yeah, shockingly, yeah. Down. Very much down. Can't shake it. Can't shake the cobweb.
all the supposed effort, Jake Paul couldn't even handle a controlled session with Anthony Joshua. He was overwhelmed, confused, and eventually knocked out. The footage exposes the limits of Jake Paul's preparation, limits that no amount of YouTube editing, marketing, hype, or self-belief can hide. Anthony Joshua is leagues ahead in skill, discipline, experience, and mental toughness. He's been through wars with Vladimir Klitschko, Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk, Alexander Povetkin, and countless elite contenders.
It's big power, and if he lands on you, you're done. You're out. And
Jake Paul, meanwhile, has not even faced a legitimate threat outside of Tommy Fury, and he lost. The gym reveals the truth. The sparring session proves that Jake Paul's foundation is not strong, because at the end of the day, talent, experience, and class always prevail over hype, and this footage made that reality crystal clear. Tyson Fury's reaction was brutal, honest, and telling. He said exactly what the world was thinking. Jake Paul looked shockingly unprepared. Fury.
I watched shout out to Bruce, the body language expert on YouTube.
Shout out, Bruce.
He did a deep dive into the way Jake Paul was behaving, and there were a lot of little signs that he was pointing out where he was going, look, is Jake Paul nervous and aware that this is a fucking hard fight? Yes, but he actually has self-belief. Obviously, is it delusional? We believe so. But the point is in his mind, he thinks you do struggle with smaller fighters. Footwork, things like that can be an ally to me in there.
Jesus.
I just think he's mastered social media. He's been doing this since he was a child. He knows how to put on an act. He's the world's best actor.
Pointed out that getting dropped or hurt in sparring is normal, but being completely shut down and kicked out of the session is not. For Fury, someone who has been in hundreds of rounds with the best heavyweights in the world, to say that Jake Paul is not ready means something. The Gypsy King knows what true power and true danger look like, and even he acknowledges that Jake Paul is nowhere near the level required to survive against someone like Anthony Joshua. Being knocked out in sparring shows Jake Paul still struggles with the basics. He has not shaken off the cobwebs of inexperience. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua is punishment personified.
No, I don't think anybody's expecting anything from Jake Paul. Like, he's fighting an Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. But this YouTuber, like, do you know what? You gotta take your hat off to Jake Paul. He's done amazing. He's done very well. And even me, I don't think he's a bad boxer. You know, I actually think he's a decent boxer, but you're not on the caliber of obviously Anthony Joshua. But
he makes your mistakes feel like bricks hitting your face. Every slow reaction becomes disaster. Every hesitation becomes an opening for Joshua's right hand. The footage confirms beyond any doubt that Jake Paul cannot handle Anthony Joshua's power, precision, or pressure. Not in sparring, and definitely not in a sanctioned fight in front of the world. Joseph Parker added to the conversation by stating the obvious reality. Anthony Joshua's power is on another level. The sparring knockout proves exactly that. When Joshua lands clean, even in headgear, even at reduced power, you feel it. Jake Paul getting rattled and shut down shows that he is light years behind.
Last fight, it's great. Because Anthony is Olympic champion, Francis Ngannou, it's second fight for boxing.
In the world of true heavyweight boxing. Parker emphasized that no hype, no team, no amount of money or marketing can replace what Anthony Joshua brings. Decades of refined skill and pure destructive potential. This is big power. This is elite power. And if Joshua lands properly during a real fight, Jake Paul is finished instantly. Every expert watching the footage can see Jake Paul is all show and nerves. His bravado melts the moment he feels real heavyweight firepower. The sparring knockout proves that acting tough cannot save you when reality punches back. Anthony Joshua is a master of controlled destruction. He
help Jake Paul. That's all I can say. We saw that what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. He went out there and iced him in a couple of rounds. A guy coming from a different discipline. Well, this kid's coming from another level. You know, white collar boxing in 2018, gone through the mill, and the only boxer really that he's actually boxed, a legitimate boxer, he got beat by, and that was in Tommy.
Dominates with skill, power, composure, and a killer instinct sharpened over years of fighting the best. Jake Paul's footwork, feints, and theatrics crumble when faced with Joshua's calm, efficient brutality. Moses Itama, one of the brightest rising heavyweights, nailed it with one comparison. He said Jake Paul might be decent for a social media fighter, but Anthony Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist and two-time heavyweight champion. The difference in pedigree is astronomical. Even if Jake Paul has improved, even if he's put in the work, he is nowhere near the level of someone like Joshua. Every mistake Jake Paul makes is punished.
And she'd like to predict it. All I would say is Joshua is on a real high right now.
With immediate, devastating consequences. The footage proves that no hype, no money, no PR team can bridge the gap between a YouTuber and a true unified world champion. Alexander Usyk himself made the harshest point of all. Jake Paul is not a real boxer, and fighting someone like Anthony Joshua only exposes him further. Usyk said Joshua's punches, timing, and composure exist on a completely different plane. Watching the footage, Usyk made it clear that Jake Paul cannot withstand even a training session with Joshua, let alone a real fight.
I don't think Anthony Joshua would take Jake Paul lightly in any way, shape or form, and he'd be so easy to hit. You're talking about a trained athlete.
Social media fame cannot substitute genuine skill. The sparring knockout confirms Anthony Joshua's dominance and exposes Jake Paul's limitations to the entire world. Spencer Oliver issued the clearest warning. Jake Paul is stepping into a nightmare. When you watch Anthony Joshua dismantle guys like Francis Ngannou, who hits harder than almost anyone in the world, you understand the danger. Jake Paul has never fought a legitimate top boxer. The only real boxer he faced, Tommy Fury, beat him clean. Jumping from Tommy Fury to Anthony Joshua is like jumping from kindergarten math to quantum.
I'm going to land heavy punches, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to expose him to certain tricks in boxing that he may not have seen yet, and I'm going to bring him to another school of boxing that I don't think he's been exposed to.
Physics. The sparring footage shows the same story over and over. Hype collapses under real pressure. Jake Paul gets exposed against true professionals. Anthony Joshua, meanwhile, is on a massive career high. His confidence is soaring, his form is excellent, and his power is sharper than ever. Piers Morgan pointed out that momentum is everything in boxing, and Joshua has all of it right now. Every session, every round, every punch reinforces his dominance. Watching him move, react, and punish mistakes makes one thing obvious.
A very dangerous night's work, and AJ will be, people say, oh, will he take it easy? AJ will be AJ. He don't mess around, he don't play with his food. He'll be going in there looking to take him out.
Yes. Anthony Joshua is in complete control. Jake Paul flounders while Joshua thrives. No self-belief, no team, and no hype machine can overcome that. Duke McKenzie added that AJ would never underestimate an opponent, even Jake Paul, and the sparring footage proves why. Jake Paul is far too easy to hit and far too inexperienced to avoid the traps Joshua sets. This is the difference between an Olympic-level athlete and a part-time boxer who built his name online. Joshua's skill and discipline are overwhelming, while Jake Paul is simply trying to survive. Every session with Joshua is a masterclass, and Jake Paul is not ready.
Sailing very close to the win, picking Anthony Joshua, because I know Joshua and I know him well, and he's a proud guy, and he will not want to lose any respect from this, and he knows that he's got to get this job done. So expect to see an aggressive Anthony Joshua, which is only bad for Jake Paul.
To be a student. Joshua lands heavy punches, exposes flaws Jake Paul didn't even know he had, and shows him what true elite boxing feels like. The knockout in sparring wasn't just a moment, it was a warning. Every hesitation becomes punishment. Every misstep becomes danger. Jake Paul may think he's ready, but Joshua operates at a level where the smallest mistake becomes catastrophic. Eddie Hearn confirmed that Joshua is ruthless in camp. He does not take days off. He does not take light work lightly. And the footage proves that Jake Paul simply cannot survive real pressure. Anthony Joshua attacks with purpose, accuracy, and devastating power. Qualities Jake Paul has never
have a
dangerous in the sense of for the health of Jake, would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a sport that we love, and I think we need to protect that. And you know, he's one of the most dangerous guys in the world to go step in a ring with. Like, you saw that with Ngannou, who was a seasoned, you know, one of the most durable men on the planet in one of the toughest sports in combat sports in the UFC, and
never dealt with before. No amount of YouTube boxing experience can prepare someone for this level of danger. Ben Davison warned that boxing is not a game, and Jake Paul is in serious trouble. The sparring knockout proves that Jake Paul cannot safely handle the kind of power and speed Joshua brings. This sport demands discipline, respect, and real experience, things Jake Paul simply doesn't have in enough supply to survive against Joshua. Mike Tyson's previous praise for Jake Paul seems almost ironic now. Potential means nothing when you're in front of a fully trained, fully locked-in Anthony Joshua.
Not to fight, but just to help each other. That would be awesome. He has so much potential. He should not
nails the reality.
Tyson said it
because
best.
Jake Paul
Experience
getting knocked out in
potential
sparring
alive,
proves he
and the footage
cannot
proves
compete
exactly
with Anthony
that.
Joshua.
Michael Bisping
There is
and Joe
no way
Rogan
on
both
this
echoed
earth
the same
that
reality.
Jake Paul can handle
Jake
the skill,
Paul cannot
power,
compete
and
with someone of
composure of a
Joshua's
true
caliber.
world champion.
Not in sparring.
Watching
not in
Anthony
a real
Joshua
fight.
dominate
Not
even
in any
controlled
world where
sessions
logic applies.
shows how overwhelming
Anthony Joshua
he is.
has shown
Jake
in
Paul's
every
hype
second
and
of that leaked
self-belief
footage
are
that Jake
meaningless
Paul is
against
completely
someone who has
outclassed.
destroyed
The
top
sparring
heavyweights.
knockout proves the
Every
gulf
punch
in
he
skill,
faces
power,
exposes
timing, and
his lack of
experience
preparation.
is massive.
Anthony
So now the question
Joshua's
is yours.
legacy and ability
Are you backing
make
Anthony
this
Joshua
matchup
to dominate?
one-sided
Or do you
long
believe
before
Jake
the bell
Paul can somehow shock the world? Drop your thoughts below.